They say memories fade like old ink, but some secrets are etched deeper than we realize, waiting in the shadows of a silent attic. Among the cobwebs and moth-eaten coats, I found a box my mother never mentioned, filled with things that felt heavy with unspoken history. My fingers brushed against a cold, metallic cylinder, an undeveloped roll of film and a single photograph that felt unnaturally cold to my skin. The photo was grainy, a snapshot from a time I don't remember. I was 7 years old, standing in a field of grey grass, but I wasn't alone. In the background, partially obscured by the tall dead grass, stood a tall figure draped in tattered dark clothing. I took the image to my aunt, hoping for a name, a memory, or a simple explanation for the stranger lurking in my past. She looked at the picture with trembling hands, her face turning pale as she claimed she had no recollection of that day. No one remembered the field, no one remembered the coat. It was as if this moment had been spliced into my life from elsewhere. My curiosity turned into a fever. Night after night, I sat beneath the flicker of a single desk lamp, staring until my eyes burned. The edges of the photo seemed to distort, the shadows growing deeper and more fluid the longer I looked into the childhood eyes. I knew I had to see what was on that film roll. I converted my small basement bathroom into a makeshift darkroom, bathed in red. The air was thick with the scent of chemicals. The red light cast long, dancing shadows that seemed to whisper against the damp walls. I submerged the film into the chemical bath. I watched the liquid ripple unnaturally, as if something beneath the surface was trying to breathe. Slowly, the image began to emerge on the paper. I held my breath, the silence of the basement pressing hard against my eardrums. The field appeared first, then the young girl. But the figure in the background was no longer a blur. It was sharp and terrifying. The entity was tall, its face a void of shadow. It wasn't just standing there anymore. It had changed its position since the original. Horror chilled my blood as I watched the figure in the developing tray slowly turn its head toward the camera, toward me. Its movements were stuttered, like frames of a broken film. It looked directly into my eyes through the veil of the developing solution. I gasped, dropping my metal tongs into the tray. The splash echoed like a gunshot in the cramped, red-lit room of the basement. The figure's eyes locked onto mine. A sudden, heavy knock vibrated through the air, coming from the very walls of the darkroom. I turned toward the door, but the sound didn't come from there. It was coming from the tray, from the photograph itself. I looked back at the print. A pale, long-fingered hand was pressed against the surface of the paper from the inside, seeking a way out. Another knock, louder this time. The photograph began to tear at the edges as the shadow pushed against the boundary of its world. I backed away into the deepest shadows of the room, my heart hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird in a cage. The final knock wasn't a sound. It was a physical force that blew out the red light, leaving me in total, suffocating darkness. Subscribe, follow, and hit the notification bell for more terrifying tales. What would you do if your past started looking back at you?